From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up Talk Radio is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they'd always dreamed of. Here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey everybody, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin and Drew Canole, and this is such a great show today because we're going to deviate a little bit off from the topics that we normally talk about, which is transformation, but we talk about we talk about quantum energy, we talk about the illusion of time, we talk about different dimensions, and lately we've been talking, Linda and I, about the transformation of the body, the transformation of the light body, and we experienced a lot of changes in our bodies as we transformed, and certain foods didn't taste well. I didn't want to eat the way I was eating, and I'm here today to introduce to you Drew Canole, and if you look behind me, you'll see all his products, and he did not endorse the show, he didn't send us all this stuff. They actually were in my cabinet for years and part of my physical transformation process. And Linda, when you started transforming from the inside out, what happened with your nutrition? What happened with the medications you were taking?
It's really funny, but it's still happening. It transitions. The things that I was using for years and years and years, all of a sudden didn't feel like they were working, or they were too powerful and my body was reacting and saying to me, too much, too much. So I stopped doing a lot of them, and now I'm back to it. It's like a constant cycle. It's not like it stops and that's the end of it. It keeps revolving. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's an interesting journey, I'll tell you that.
Well, and that's why it's so great to have Drew here today, because as I cleaned up myself, I cleaned up my emotions, I cleaned up my life, I cleaned up my family, I started cleaning up my diet. And that's why Drew is here. Among other things, he wrote this book that talked about soul mapping and the identity. So there's lots of things we're going to talk about today. But Drew, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, you two. This is awesome. What a pleasure it is to be on a show where people are so conscious that are tuning in and listening to this. And I love being here. So thank you.
Well, and I like that you were part of my journey even before I met you a couple years ago through one of my radio endeavors. And one of the things I'm going to tell the audience today is that as you change your life, as you transform, you lighten up literally. You lighten up your soul, you lighten up your energy, and you lighten up your body. And I think you have to put different things in your body as you transform, Drew. You found that out and you built an empire on it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, not just different nutrition, right? But we talk about different thoughts too, because we have our physical 3D body, this meat suit. And we also have our mental body, we have our aura body, we have our light body, we have different layers of the auric field, and we have the etheric field. And when we get into what nutrition does that need, I think that's like really exciting stuff. So I'm glad that your listeners are aware of that.
Well, that's what we want to talk about today is what does our body need when we are transitioning? I mean, when we activate our light body, everything changes. Linda, your legs were buzzing, you were humming, and, I felt like I was vibrating, wherever I went.
Sandra, why don't you explain, or have Drew explain what the light body is for those that do not understand? Because if you had said that to me 2 years ago, I wouldn't know what the heck you were talking about.
You want to grab it? You want me to?
No, you grab it, Drew.
Cool. So, the 3D body is our biological system, and it's great. We have amazing biological systems, right? We don't have to think about seeing through our eyes, and we have the greatest HD cameras on the planet. Our lungs breathe oxygen, our heart pumps blood, and it's incredible what our body does. But it's also, and I love it. I love the physical body. I go to the gym, I work out all the time. I got, some pretty big muscles, if I don't say so myself, right? And I love it. But at the end of the day, I also am aware now more than ever of how crucial my light body is. And that's what some people would probably call my spirit body or my soul body. Very similar context when it comes to that. I've been working with a Toltec shaman for the past 10 years in the place of dream time. So every night when I go to bed, I talked about it in the book UBU, it's like a lucid experience. And I'm getting more and more remembering where I'll remember most of the dreams from the night, and I'm able to articulate it in such a way to where I can change my reality based on a lot of these dreams. I'll see future timelines in business. I'll see different things that people are up against that I love in my life, that I can go to them with knowledge of what's really happening in their life from the unseen world of the dream, right? So it's just waking up in the dream. And the more my light body gets lighter, the more that gets activated, the more I'm remembering and seeing that. And it's exciting times we're in.
It is exciting times. I just did a show with J.M. DeBoard, a dream expert, and Linda and I talk about using our dreams to direct our lives often. Linda, you just had a bunch of dreams. And for the longest time, Drew, when I was unhealthy, when I was not living what I thought was my authentic life, I didn't dream.
Yeah.
It was completely shut off. And Linda, you experienced some powerful dreams recently.
Yeah, I am every night now. I do. I'm probably bad because I don't write them down. But when I do wake up, usually at 3 o'clock every morning now, it's like, oh, please let me sleep through the night. But that's not happening. I just sit and I think about the dream that I've had. And more than just remembering the dream, I think it's important to remember how you feel in the dream, because I think we're doing a lot of work heading toward the fifth dimension in our dreams. So how you feel, I think, is a great indication how far you're coming or the work that you're doing. But
yeah,
they're powerful.
Yeah, the context of the dream, not the content. And the context, the feeling cues are super, super potent. I love that. And I love that you're waking up at 3 too. That's like the best time to write.
It is. My witching hour is 3:33. It's where all my company ideas come from, all my great things that have come. And I don't think I don't create them. They come through me. And it's weird, Drew, because I wear my little Fitbit watch all the time. And I will wake up like bonk. And then I'll roll over in my bed, I'll reach my notepad, I'll write something down, and I look at it, it lights up when I grab for my pen, and it is always anywhere between 3:30, 3:33. I mean, it's uncanny.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, it's wild. Like this is the good stuff. This is the fun stuff.
Absolutely. I love that.
So let me ask you, when you were creating your business, and I've watched it go through evolutions over the last couple years, and you started out in one industry, moved into another. Did you ever think you would end up here talking about the things you're talking about, or did you always have an idea? Like, I always knew I was uncommon and I was set for an uncommon life. Did you have that feeling, or how did it evolve?
Yeah. Over time, I knew that I was going to do something to like impact the world in a big way. And I don't even think I don't think I've hit my stride yet, to be honest. I think there's always evolution in all of us, and it can take us so many ways, which is really exciting. But it was like this inner knowing that as long as I focus on transforming one person's life every day, that my life would be taken care of and everything would work out, be it financial abundance, the relationships that I have around me, the people in my life, just focusing on one person every single day. And sure enough, it has, because last year, I think we sent out 1 million bottles of Organifi green juice.
Wow.
So crazy.
Well,
and not
your
crazy.
company was also ranked in Forbes, because I checked it out, I fact checked it, number 4 in the best small workplaces in 2018. That's no easy feat.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of. We can brag about numbers and revenue and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I'm all about the lives of the people that work for me and then work through, Source, and that are a part of our mission and our purpose, and the clients that we impact. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, and we were talking recently, Linda and I are taking this course out of Australia. It's a spiritual fitness course, which we're both.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're both fitness people. Linda goes to the gym every day. I'm a spin instructor, and I go to the gym in addition to my regular work. But we were so intrigued by this concept of spiritual fitness that, we take care of our bodies, we take care of our minds. Well, how do we take care of our soul? And we were talking about this concept of living back in time, or living forwards. What was it, Linda? How did she say
Living
it?
backwards in time.
And that's just what you embodied. Like, you knew something was there. You saw this bigger picture, and then it unfolded as you followed your instinct and followed your guidance, your inner guidance. Because anybody who says, it's great to ship a lot of units, it's great to have a lot of numbers, but what I'm most proud of is the lives that I've touched, the hearts I've changed. That is something much bigger than just your MBA business school plan.
Yeah. And we all have access to that, right? Like, if you guys study timeline theory at all, are you familiar with that? Yeah. So you get it. And your listeners probably do too. But for the person that doesn't, like, I believe there's thousands of different timelines rippling out in front of us in any given moment. And we can connect to different alternate timelines. We can literally travel 4 years in the future of our current life and like see what's happening in the future and like look at that time. And then use that information in real time, in reality today. And I think I've had glimpses of that. And the more clearer I become, the more in tune I become with my light body and the fuel that I'm actually giving it, the more resources we have towards that. So I think it was just part of that. It's like connecting with your higher self, connecting with God, connecting with spirit that changed everything for me.
Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that part of this course, well, I guess the whole course is trying to get to live your life in the fifth dimension. And it's not an easy journey to get there, but it's so beneficial. We know people that have already arrived there, and they seem awfully happy to me. But yeah, I believe that the higher our consciousness goes, we can jump from timeline to timeline. It's all there at the same time. It's where your consciousness level is that allows you to see these other lives that we might be living at the same time we're living this one. Only, and it's part of the quantum physics too, because that's part of this course too. So it's all just so interesting. It's just mind blowing. I mean, my background is Wall Street, so you can see how far that is. You said, it was always about the employees. In Wall Street, it was, you better go bite them before they bite you. The sharks are out there. So it's quite a journey from, the dollar sign to higher consciousness.
Yes. Well, kudos to you for making such progress and coming from Wall Street and knowing what you know now. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, but, you do what you do at the time. And I loved it at the time. I always felt I had a spiritual bend, sort of, but I didn't even know what that meant. I just felt if it was, if I was confident, I could make anything happen. And I was okay with that for many years. And then I said, oh boy, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Where are you going to go now? It's a fascinating journey, living it, and particularly in this time, because things are moving so fast, and the world is changing. And I don't think 3D is going to be around for very much longer. I think we're in the process of disintegrating it. I don't know if you agree, but you can just see it. Everything's changing. Every day there's new, exciting, and not so exciting changes that we're experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's exciting times we're in, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things, Drew, that when Linda and I first came together, we worked together on Shining Service Worldwide, which is her charity that helps reintegrate women from the military back into society. And I remember Linda and I having this conversation many years ago that why is it so hard? We're pushing and pushing. Remember, Linda, the pushing years? We were pushing to get everything done. And then, we started this radio show together like 8 years ago. So a long time.
Yes.
And then we started inviting on like all these different people who had nothing to do with my or her business financial backgrounds. And it started to open our eyes and start us on this journey of allowing and creating and co-creating with the universe. And, that was never taught to me in business school, Linda. I'm sure you never got that in Wall Street. And Drew, you were in finance before your Organifi.
Yeah.
So they didn't talk a lot about the art of allowing. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's wild. But, we're drawn to that information because it's part of our soul's evolution and what we want to experience here. And I'm so grateful to be uniting at this time together because of that.
It is. Go ahead.
What do you do with your employees to get them on that same path, you know, as the culture of your whole company is? Are they resistant? Do they love it? Do you have to teach them? What do you do to get everybody on board?
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's embodied, integrated knowing of a vibration that is at a very high frequency of love and joy and peace, and being in that state as much as possible, living my life that way so that they can see that demonstration first and foremost.
Yes.
Second to that, I monitor my language. So I'm always speaking from a place of, we've already done it. We're celebrating in every moment. So teaching people to celebrate effectively, I think, is a big thing. The celebration frequency is really high. And at Organifi, we're constantly in a state of celebration, regardless of what KPIs are off or we're hitting or not, right? Also a very much focus on how are they improving their lives. We've had book clubs since the beginning, reading a book a week together. So there's always new knowledge entering the atmosphere and the ecosystem of Organifi. And we actually genuinely show up and care for other people outside of work. So we go to people's events. There's a lot of singers in our group. We'll go to their a cappella events. We'll support their different athletic endeavors. And it's a family. I mean, it is really, really a family. It's super powerful.
Well, that's terrific. And it really does start at the top and filters down. So you're setting a very good example for them. And I think that that's necessary for any boss. Unfortunately, it's not too commonplace yet, but I think we're going to get there.
I think so too. I've been blessed to have a lot of mentors and coaches and people in my life that I really look up to, and the way that their ways of being are super palatable for me. And I've been able to apply that in my own life and show up that way. So I'm blessed to be introduced to such great people.
And the universe is rewarding you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but it's like, we're all rewarded. Like, look at, I think about 20 years ago when I first left college and started my business. It's like, look, we're connected. Drew, you're in San Diego. Linda's in New York. I'm in Los Angeles. This amazing technology comes out. And then here are three very, very successful people in their industries that are no longer shut down or afraid or willing to talk about the spiritual aspects of business, to talk about the soul's journey, the past, the illusion of time. I mean, these things 10 years ago I read about them, Linda and I talked about them, but it was very quiet. It was something you talked one-on-one. You certainly didn't bring it out into the public. And I know when I first came public with a lot of my real beliefs, if we want to put it that way, or the beliefs that felt natural and organic to me, it was met with a little bit of pushback, but lately I think people are very, very receptive. And that's the change that I see, is a receptivity to a different way of being, and that we can model. I don't think you can teach this. And I'm going to ask each of you, can you teach this, or do you just have to live it by example? I'm going to go to Drew first.
I think, obviously living it by example is always the greatest teacher and demonstrating, right? But I also think there's core aspects that you can teach. And I think the universal laws, like a lot of the old laws that have been around since ancient times, like the Kabbalion and the Hermetic principles and the teachings in that, like you could teach people that to where they get it, they get the knowledge, but the knowing, the embodied knowing is the real work. So I think being the demonstration in that and knowing it and referencing that access in your own body and your own 3D reality that you're creating, the construct that we can call it, right? The matrix or whatever. When people look into it, they see it. And then feeling is the integration. So I think you can teach it.
Okay. Linda, how about you?
I think you can teach it too. But in order to really get it, to feel it, it's got to be experiential. I've lived 90% of my life in my head, and I read all the books, and I thought I understood it. But until I started to really experience it on my own, it was nothing. It was like 10% of the whole picture. So yeah, I think you've got to start somewhere, and I've been doing it for decades. And I'm just sort of getting the experiential part now. So it's a process. But I think people are really open to it now because the changes are happening so fast, and the things that worked before aren't working anymore, and people are scared, they're fearful, they don't know what to do, and they're looking for new ways to make things happen in this new world, this new earth that we're experiencing.
See, and I have a different take on it. And Drew, I'm going to go for you for yours. I look at with the proliferation of Google and search engines, and everybody has a digital device. The concept of knowledge 25 years ago, or even, when we were little kids, he who had the most knowledge in their brain controlled the universe. That was smart. That was intelligence. Well, now Google and all these different search engines have come up, and everybody's participated in the internet to kind of level the playing field with knowledge. You can go and acquire knowledge throughout the internet. You can go and acquire this, but you can't, what Drew said was so profound, you can't know it. And Linda, what you said, you can't feel it. So I think as we move into this quantum economics of a technological age where knowledge is at the fingertips, it's the application, the knowing, and the feeling that is now the big moneymaker. Because if you know it, but you don't feel it, integrate it, or do it, what's the point of knowing? So I think a lot of our digital age has helped this transformational shift of people going from only the head now to the heart and maybe to the whole body. So Drew, I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think we can get wrapped up into knowing, like researching information, reading books, and having more knowledge. And I think that makes us heavy. I know it makes the light body heavy, because the more knowledge we have, sometimes the more important we feel. And if we feel really, really important, then we can't fly. So I think when we, like Delphi said to Socrates back in the day, he said, "You're the smartest man in the land because you admitted that you know nothing."
Right.
So I think when we do know nothing, when we are sitting in a state of emptiness, we are also part of the vastness of everything. And I think when you have somebody that's really good at channeling, or somebody that is connected to divinity, and they're a healer, but they've studied no healing, but they just do things with their hands that are out of this world, and it's thousands of years old, like technology that's just embodied wisdom in their body, and they're just doing it because they've done it. I think that's where real power comes from. So I'm not trying to accumulate more knowledge these days. I'm actually trying to get rid of a lot of it, because a lot of it's useless. And I know you guys agree with me, because the way that we're headed in, I think it's amazing, but we got to really get rid of some of this heaviness. Like the 3D is a black hole. And like we've mentioned on this podcast, at night, if we're not headed in our vision or the direction of our dreams, we won't remember them when we wake up in the morning. So I think to totally remember, we have to forget.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it sounds counterintuitive. Linda, go ahead.
No, I guess I just have to agree. And I know I said that I've spent most of my life in my head, and that's not, I don't want to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think now you're going to transmit all your messages through energy, vibration. The words don't mean a whole lot anymore. So it's pretty miraculous, the changes that we're seeing every day now, and I just want to be part of them, because I do believe if we do, I call it the work. If we do the work, it's actually going to be heaven on earth. We don't have to wait to die to be in that wonderful, glorious place. We're gonna do it right now while we're still living and breathing in this body.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Drew, one of the things that I learned in this course that I'm taking in Australia, I do a lot of leadership training at companies like Keller Williams, a lot of different sales organizations. And it was very interesting to me, and Linda and I would talk about this a lot. I would go into these training sessions, and all of the things that I used to train everybody in for years, sales technique, modeling, all these things, fell away. And I started meeting with the salespeople who had blocks, the salespeople who maybe were not feeling it. And we would have these sessions where we would just sit and feel, and they would talk, and I would listen. And it was the most amazing thing, because miracles happen when people expose their true self to a place of safety and nurturing. And then they go back, and there's just profound changes in their success. And it had nothing to do with all the Zig Ziglar and sales programs and, my Northwestern MBA training. Had nothing to do with that. It was one person meeting the soul of another person. And sometimes I didn't even say anything, and they would go out feeling better. And I think that's some of the stuff we're talking about, is we need to get clear on who are we and what are we here for. And you talk in your book about that identity, and you talk about the soul map and things like this. And this is why I think you're so much different than just the green juice guy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. The identity is key, because even in the beginning of Fit Life TV in Organifi, one of the things we do is we really drill down why the person's here. And we try to get them in a place of remembering and also deleting a lot of the old programs that our parents give to us, the limitations that we pick up on the street, and just being part of this human experience. So the identity takes them through different questions to really look at their life. And what's the goal that they have, first of all, and why do they want it? What's a bigger reason outside of looking good or having a ridiculous amount of money that you want this? What do you want to hear from your friends or the person that you love the most 90 days from now after your goal's achieved? What do you want to feel? Which Linda's talked a lot about, like that feeling, like in the body. If I can paint the picture of the way that I want to feel once this goal's hit, and I can carry that vibration and hold on to it. What's that like in the company? And then what's the vision? What do you want it to look like? And when we do the identity process, oftentimes people cry because it's a why that really drills down and makes them cry, why that makes them cry. And it's super powerful in this process, because I don't think a lot of companies are doing that.
No.
In the very beginning of somebody onboarding, like this is part of our onboarding process. And it'll change your life when you live every moment as to why, what's my soul want in this moment? If we talk about soul mapping, what does it want? What does my soul want? Why did I incarnate here? What am I looking to experience? What's my lesson in this? Being an abused, tortured little boy, there's a lot of lessons that I got out of that. Number one was how to forgive my father. Everything that he did. I was 6 years old. I was praying. I forgave my dad. That was super a high impact moment in my life. Had I hold on to that, I don't think my life would be where I am today. It would be much different. So, and what if I was my dad? Universal law of oneness. What if I just showed up as him to teach me forgiveness?
Yeah.
Right. And what if I am you right now talking to me? If we want to go further down the rabbit hole,
Sure.
And our consciousness is a collective one, what are we all trying to experience here in this moment? And that brings great compassion into my life for both of you. I look at you through the eyes of love. I see you. I see all of you, and I'm here to support, and I want what's best for you. And when you're in a company and you're looking at your employees like that, it changes everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
It does. It does. Now we're gonna, we've got just about 7-8 minutes left to the end of the broadcast. Drew, if you could meet your future self, we're gonna go 20 years in the future today. What would your future self tell you about the Drew today?
Yeah. Again, and this is 20 years ago, I would have told my same self this, my younger Drew, is just to be kinder to yourself. Don't take yourself so serious. Have some fun. Travel a little bit more, drink some fermented kombucha a little bit more and get a buzz going, You're doing a great job, just don't stress out. I think oftentimes as humans, we can stress out about the little things, and we're missing the point of living. Like, this is a vacation for us.
Right.
I think we incarnate here to really experience this magical land called Earth. And many of us have it backwards. We're not slaves. We're not here to do stuff that we don't want to do. Just love life. Be the embodiment of love. I know that was a lot, but I think
No, it made perfect sense, because, when I changed my life, I changed my lot. I transformed a lot in the last 5 years, because even though I had made a lot of money, built this empire, I wasn't happy, and I was really empty. And I kept thinking, is this all there is? And, you can criticize me as a mother, but when I had my kids, I thought, is this all there is? Not that, some people are so fulfilled by all this stuff, but I realized that I was looking at the gift of life, my own life, in an entirely backwards fashion. that we were to acquire, we were to do these things, and everything had to be a chore, and you had to work hard to make money. You couldn't just make money. You had to work hard to make money. A lot of this programming, when you talked about offloading some of the learning, like I was throwing, knowledge over the side and starting from scratch. And Linda, you were a big part of that journey, because we've literally had to wipe the slate clean wipe the slate clean in a lot of what we had written on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the course that we're taking, it's the way, they, like you said, with your employees, why you're here and what do you really want? And in the course, it's the end result. What is your end result? Is it making a lot of money? Is it having a big house? Is it a car? Is it finding the ideal mate? And when you really drill down to what you want your end result to be, when I was doing that drilling, it happened to be happiness. I don't care how the happiness comes, just pour it on. I just, at this stage in my life, I just want to be happy. So anytime before this, anything that I thought I wanted always started in my head, and then it worked down and worked down. I don't think it ever got to my heart. And now it has to start in my heart and then work its way up to my head. And it's a very different result and a very different feeling.
I love that. Yeah. Juan Javier says the greatest journey anybody will ever take. The sacred journey is 17 inches and it's from your mind to your sacred heart.
Yeah.
So longest journey. Takes us a while to get it. But once we have it and you can live from the heart, like that's what life is all about.
Yeah. And you can't go backwards. Once you feel that and how good it can feel, there's no going back. You just have to keep going forward, even though it's tough at times, but we know that that's the right way.
Yeah. We're that 5-year-old child in every moment, seeing life as if it's the first and the last time we'll ever witness it.
Yeah. Living in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly am pulling myself back because, I'm thinking, well, what's going to happen next week or next month? I say, no, don't go there. Pull yourself back to right now. Right now, I'm looking out the window at the East River and it's a beautiful sunny day here in New York. That's what it's all about.
Yes. Love that. I love both of you too, by the way. You two are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Drew, I'm just going to say for everybody listening today, this is my shameless sales pitch. As I started my journey, I looked for a lot of products. I'm not going to name those products, but there were products that sat in my body like I had eaten a bunch of hockey pucks. I was a big hockey fan growing up, still am, but I had a lot of hard time with the certain protein powders. I had a lot of problems with the different green juices on the market. And I'll be honest, my favorite green juice does taste initially, looks like the bottom of something that grew off my lake growing up. And I opened the can for the first time and I thought, I don't know if I can do this. And then I put it in the container that came with your products, this one, where you can't see it. And you know what? It tasted great. And that was the funniest thing to me, because when I looked at the product and I thought, there is no way. And then I didn't look at the product. And then I realized I am now all in my head. So I bring these products into my body for years now. I give them to my son, who's now 6'5", Drew. My other one is, he's 6'5". He's 15 years old with a size 16 foot. And he was a preemie. He was a little 2-pound nothing.
Oh my God.
I credit a lot of your products to growing that, but I also give it to my 85-year-old dad who I care for. So we kind of run the gamut in this household of your products, but you were a big part of my feeling good in my body. So that's the best thank you I can say for putting this product line together. And I would use your videos for inspiration.
This is the best testimonial I've ever received. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
That feels good.
It comes from the heart and it's truthful.
Yes.
So can you let people know if they love your company corporate philosophy, if they love my endorsement on your product line, which I just adore, and you did not pay me. You haven't given me anything to endorse this.
Well, I'm about to start paying you now based on that testimonial. Come on.
But so how can you find out more about your products?
Yeah, so Organifi.com And for everybody listening to this, they're your family. So in turn, they're my family as well. I'd love to give them like a 15% discount or something like that. Let's set up a coupon code. What do you want it to be? What do you want the coupon code to be?
How about Powered Up, like our show? That's easy.
Got it. So Powered Up and get 15% off of all of our products. And I think that'd be amazing. And then go to Organifi.com to do it. You can leave it in the show notes. And yeah, UBU, you can go to Amazon and get that, the book.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're trying to find me, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media search engines. I am there and I'm ready to support in any way that I can.
Let me ask you one question before we leave. For someone that's new to your products and they're going to pick up the first one or two, which one and two would you pick?
So likened to what Sandra said, I believe green juice is the perfect way to start your day. It's got ashwagandha, which is amazing at lowering cortisol. We've done clinical trials on it. People that actually take it, they showed an improvement in the body mass index, so meaning weight loss, right? Yeah. Beck's depression is something that we tested too, which is a scoring model based on mood. They showed enhanced mood, enhanced life, happiness, calmness, all those benefits that we experience when we eat superfoods like this. It's got turmeric, matcha in there, which has L-theanine, which is a great neurotransmitter that helps with cognitive function as well. So green juice for sure. And I actually love the gold as well. So gold at night in tea before bed, it just knocks you out. And I find that my dream time is actually accelerated and more advanced when I drink the gold because of the turmeric. The turkey tail's in there too, which is a great immunity booster. Absolutely incredible for immunity. Lots of pharmaceutical companies in Japan use turkey tail in some of their formulations. So we just put the clinical dose actually in our gold drink as well to help boost the immune system around the holidays. People are drinking it to stay healthy. You just feel good. It tastes like autumn had a baby with a marshmallow. Like, that's how good this stuff tastes. So those would be the two I'd start with. We got a sunrise to sunset bundle, which has the red too. And I believe you get a discount on that when you buy all three.
Okay. Well, I won't lie to you. I'm a newbie, but I'm definitely going to go online and order that because if it can help me with all of the things that you suggested, I'm in.
Well, you don't need much help, Linda. You are on track. Well, both of you are such rays of light. Like looking at you, I just see so much clarity and so much inner knowing and wisdom and so much grace, like absolute beauty. So thank you for being that representation for me in my life today. You've made my day infinitely better just by showing up on this interview.
Thank you. Thank you. That's Drew Canole. Organifi is the company name. You can check out his products on Organifi.com. You can also get a copy of his book. You're going to really dig the soul mapping chapter and learning your identity. We'll be back again soon with another episode of Powered Up Talk Radio.
From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up Talk Radio is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they'd always dreamed of.